Now you're good.
Okay.
All right, we are live. It is the episode 4 recap show. I am co-hosting. I'm a guest co-host along with Melissa, and we have the fourth person voted out of the game, Ben Stone. Welcome, Ben.
I'm glad to be here.
All right, so we're gonna wait a little bit for some people to get in here, but we have a lot of questions prepared for you. It's gonna be fun. We just got a viewer. It's gonna be exciting. Leave comments. We'll pop them up. We'll get them answered. Is there anything you want to start by saying, Ben?
I had fun, and I'm curious how the game plays out. I think there's a lot of good players left, specifically the ones I was working with. I want to see, and especially with that I pre-gamed with, I want to see how far they might go. And on the other tribe, I have no idea how that's going to turn out. So I'm very curious how that's going to be. And even in my own tribe, after it's just Denny left, who's going to align with who and all that. I've been trying to keep away from spoilers. I know a few things, but I've been trying to keep clear of that. So I'm as surprised as you guys are.
Right, because your tribe, Miamia, was equally bad, if not a little worse, than Melissa and I's original tribe, the NSFW tribe, losing 4 challenges in a row. I don't know if it's some sort of curse or exactly what it is, but I feel it because it was rough and it was super frustrating.
Oh yeah. The Orange Tribe proved that they can win. I know there was some discussion about curse before the game, but yeah, to prove that the curse didn't exist, we purposely lost 4 in a row. So
That's what it was. So since you already started with that let's go ahead and start from the beginning on that. How was your pre-gaming? Like, what did you do? Because you guys had a long pre-game to start with.
Right. So I kind of viewed the pregame like I was building a fantasy team, honestly. And my number one pick was Denny. Like, I viewed her I really liked Frank and Pook, but I thought they might be gone right away, especially if they stayed on the specialist tribe, because I would have liked to work with both of them. But I thought Denny was a very strong player from what I saw in Mini. I thought she could get a lot of connections across both sides, and if we were tight allies, we could really control the game. Like, I had an inner layer of me, Denny, Corey, and Logan, and then I had the NSFW players, Joe, Rob, and Karen. I kind of viewed as my core 7, and I like Carrie too. And I didn't really have much conversations with Sam or Christian, unfortunately, but they seem like good people too. But that was my pre-gaming, and I think the flaw in my pre-gaming is sometimes, like, you remember conversations that weren't important to you then, but after the game you're like, oh wow, that was big. Denny was talking about Carrie and how they had a lot of good personal conversations in the pre-gaming, and that she really liked doing that and learning more about her and all this. And I was thinking about it, I'm like, man, I don't know, I haven't really done that with Denny that well. And I tried to do a little bit after that, but I don't think I did enough. I think that was a weakness. I made her my number 2 or number 1 without. I should have had more grounds than just, oh, she's the best player. That, in my opinion, I did it. I could have been much better there socially to secure that great player.
Definitely watching Denny on here, it's kind of like we're not watching Survivor, we're watching The Bachelor. Where she has all these guys ready to go after her. There's a huge showmance between her and Mikey. All the other guys on the other side are like, Denny, pick me. I mean, and it's like she's
no wonder she's hosting that show.
Who's gonna get my roses? So
I will say
all the guys are like, okay.
I will say that I was thinking about doing this season. I didn't get selected, but if I was, I did pregame with Denny. So I know Denny was my number one as well. She was Pook's. She was Ben's. Maybe Frank's. And then maybe Joe's as well. So I mean that's a lot. You have like 4 or 5 people that are their number one. That's pretty big.
Oh yeah, no, I'm really curious what she does in this game going forward. I think she's in a great spot, and we'll see how it goes.
So back on your game on that. So you would say that she was your number one, that she was the one that you were wanting to work with. You just forgot to work with her.
Yeah. Well, I just discounted. I just assumed she was with me the whole time. I didn't. Yeah. I just. And really, the reason the first vote why I ruled her out, I think it went over a little bit in one of the recap episodes, but this is an old vote. This is my last vote, but it had, you're supposed to do them in order, and I believe Denny didn't do it in order, and I think a lot of players probably didn't either. They probably just picked a card, but I assumed everyone was going in order, and she showed a 1 card with the Pook on it, so I thought she was legitimate. Karen didn't have one because she didn't get that package from Chile. Christian kind of flashed his and went to work. So we kind of thought that was suspicious. I felt like I didn't see his whole card. So that's kind of why we were okay with targeting Christian in the second vote. We thought we were going to go to a 5-5 tie in the first vote, especially when Pook said he was targeting Christian, because we thought we were down 6-4. After that draft, because we thought Christian would immediately go to their side. Yeah, can't assume that's what I do with my guy and stab me in the throat. Yeah, exactly, Cameron. And I really feel like I should have dig deep. Like I know what job Denny has, but I don't know like much about her. I should have tried harder. My social game within my alliance was, I think, a little lacking.
So going right after that draft, there's a challenge, and our question is: did you realize how hard or how much trouble you were going to have with that challenge? And if so, why did you accept to do that?
Right. So before the challenge, I was actually kind of aiming for either the puzzle or the rubber bands. And then I believe it was Andrew who all of a sudden didn't feel comfortable and was really crying about it, or not crying. He was not feeling comfortable. And so and nobody was really stepping up to the plate and saying, "Oh, I'll take your spot." So I felt okay. I felt like I could maybe do it. I didn't really think it through, because then I realized you have to bend down, and with all these cups, and I'm literally 6'5", 6'6". I was probably one of the tallest people doing that challenge. So that dawned in my mind like 30 seconds into it when I started struggling, and that negative thought, and then just me and other people succeeding and me still not doing well, I think just got me off. But I volunteered for that spot because I felt Andrew didn't want that spot. And maybe I should have just shut up and just let him fail there or not. But it's hard to say. But that's why that happened.
So how were you worried at all after that challenge that you were going to be the one that was going to get targeted because how bad of a performance that was?
Partially, like I thought it was going to be 6-4, and I thought I was going to get voted out. Honestly, it was my initial thoughts an hour after. Yeah, I did feel in a completely different spot that I did a few hours before. I felt vulnerable. I felt like an obvious target. Because our team couldn't even get to stage 2. I was doing that stage 1 for I don't know how long, but wait, 45, 50, several days, who knows? But
they think that you're still doing it. That I've heard.
Right. I saw that special as that one. Yeah. Ultimately, it's not like something that I'll be doing probably any time in the rest of my life, balancing cups, moving them across 6 feet, and rolling dice. I don't think I'll be doing that ever again, unless it's another Survivor game. Then maybe, but then I'll try not to take that spot. I'll be like, no, guys, there's video evidence I suck at balancing cups and bending. So
in this most recent episode, Andrew, you're catching a lot of flack from Andrew. Andrew is ripping you, saying your social game sucked and that you didn't really know what you were doing. So, like, what's your side on
that? I think I knew what I was doing. So part of the episode that when Denny was kidnapped, they were talking about these 2 different Final Fours. The Final Four with Denny, Logan, Frank, and Pook, and the one with Denny, Logan, Frank, and Corey. All those people were in my Final Four except for Pook and Frank because I didn't think they'd make it. Maybe I should have flipped early and been in Denny's spot and I don't know, but I really think the move. I think that Denny should have stayed TRHS strong and went with us. I think the big problem with the first vote is that not everybody was on the same page. Not everyone thought Christian was going to be with us. I think we should have had a Zoom meeting, maybe even brought in Pook to say, hey, let's be TRHS strong, or even without Pook, just all the 5 of us discuss who to vote for. And I think a lot of people felt it was just Joe and maybe me deciding that first vote, and that's I think part of why Denny flipped there. What was your question again?
My question was like Andrew was like blasting this episode about your social.
Yeah, I knew I completely deviated from that, so but yeah. I have nothing against Andrew. He did screw up badly in the second challenge, but like I was looking for anything to divide those guys. I did no pre-gaming with the specialist, so I just felt like any kind of things I did would just come off as not genuine. So I kind of just let Denny and Karen talk with them, and I knew they were talking with them, and I was hoping they were going to protect me. And maybe Denny did for a point. I don't know. Yeah, I will admit, my social game wasn't that strong. But if the vote had flipped at the first vote, I think Andrew would have maybe been one of our targets next. But because, he wasn't great in that. He did seem very, very nervous in that second challenge. Like I was blindfolded too, but I wasn't flying cards everywhere. I was much more measured with my movements. I don't know, but that's my take. We talked after the game. We're cool. Well,
that's good.
Yeah.
So coming into this game, you've been a host before of one of the minis. And I know minis are totally different than these games. They go so much quicker than these kind of games. But it's still kind of the same strategy on it. I mean, did you think that benefited you, or was it a disadvantage for you?
I think it was a benefit, but I think I took some things for granted. Like it was a big benefit in that I think I could have gotten Corey, Logan, Frank, I think all these strong players, Logan, Frank, Pook, Denny, all were involved with my mini, all knew me to some extent. And I told them I was going to play a loyal game, and obviously I did a little bit, but I think I would have liked to work with a lot of them, and I think the game would have been different without that first twist. But obviously, I should have prepared better. I should have talked to all the specialists before the game. I should have anticipated the unexpected and messaged these guys, because then I feel like those conversations would be more genuine when the tribe swap happened. I just felt like I was in a boat without a paddle there. But yeah. Does that answer that?
Yeah, that answers it. So I'm seeing from a lot of the comments that they're also in there saying that's all TRHS strong. Don't let them give you any flack on that or anything like that, because nobody that's ever played any of these games has been THRS strong the whole entire time. So
I was.
you were. Cameron was.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't say Cameron was.
Cameron totally was.
Okay.
You never had the opportunity to vote anybody else.
Karen was here. She did flip on me once, but she was just looking for a way to survive, and she was talking to him. That's whatever. But yeah, it's hard. And like I said, I should have talked with the other and after we voted Pook, I was hoping I could work with Pook in the game, but after I voted for him in the first vote, I just felt like anything I said to him, he wouldn't believe. Like, I already tried to get him out in the first vote. Like, anything I say, does you really believe? I don't know.
So how do you imagine that dynamic? Because all of us that were on the first season with Pook, we're all like in shock about, did any of these people even watch that season? And the fact that he is in so much control, I mean, were you expecting that, or were you like...
No, that's why we were targeting Pook. We thought they saw that season and would be like, well, shit, we don't want to work with this guy. Like, yeah, we'll sacrifice him. We were going to vote him out anyway. I thought it would be a pretty diplomatic, like we weren't picking a true specialist that wasn't, like, he was a TRHS player before. So I think the logic of the first vote made sense. I just don't think everybody felt involved. So that was the big problem with it. And that's just a lack of forethought. And you have to be ready to play on game one, an A game. Like, you have to, because that first vote, especially if you start off 5-5, like, if you mess that up, it could be over unless you're a really, really nimble player. And I was too vocally, I think, loyal, and I think to some extent, and yeah.
So you think that it honestly was, even with that first twist, that it was a absolute specialist versus TRHS, no matter what, that's how it was going to be, that there was going to be, I mean, you guys really felt that way?
I felt that way. I think Joe felt that way. I think Karen felt that way. I think a lot of the specialists felt that way. Maybe Pook didn't. Maybe Denny didn't. And obviously, because they didn't, things changed. And I get that. You might maybe not wanting to go to possibly rocks, or hoping that a specialist changes their vote. Maybe there were some uncertainty there, and some people that 100% certainty. I'd like the power. I'd like the power of my alliance to be able to control the tribe. So that's what I wanted, and I failed to get a gamble that didn't pay off.
Okay, so you say you like the power. You say you like having that control. So you lose one. I get that you're like, okay, kind of blindsided. How did you try to ever get that power back? Because it didn't seem like anybody was really trying to get that power back. They were just like, okay, well, I'm next. I mean, from what we're seeing, now I can't happen. Right. What we're seeing.
What I was doing is I was trying to repair the relationship with Pook. Pook was telling me Christian. I was like, all right, man, it's Christian then. You'll see with my vote, it's going to be a whatever vote. I think it was 7-1 or 8-1 or whatever it was. So that I was just trying to show loyalty there. And then in the next vote, Pook was telling me that it's definitely Andrew. And Karen and Denny were told the same thing, or at least Denny told me it was Andrew too. So they did kind of lie to us there about who that was going out, or Pook was, after telling us the truth initially. So no, I won't lie. Pook had a lot of control of that tribe at that time. I felt like, and I felt like anything I told the specialist might get back to him, because he really did seem like he was in good graces with all of them. I thought John and McKenna were also very strong vocal presences. I thought Phil was very smart, and I'm missing one. And I know they're good. Andrew, yes. Andrew Uh,
I know you forgot him because you never talked to him. I got it. Yeah.
pretty quiet, and after the second challenge, a lot of people were echoing that he wasn't great at challenges either. So that's why I was kind of hoping that they would do that to try to get us out of our losing slump. But it was also, I knew he wasn't really that bad, and I think he showed in the challenge 3 and 4 he wasn't that bad either. I was just trying to find some way to divide them, because I couldn't, I had no idea the hierarchy. I had no idea who's loyal to who over there. I just knew those 4 are solid, and Pook has been building trust with them for votes for tribal councils and tribal councils now. So it just, I was desperately looking for an idol. My last few days there, I told Pook and John, I'm probably going out, talk to guys at tribal. I had like 48 hours. I was hoping they'd be freaking out that I found an idol and was just confident to just not talk with them. But I was just spending hours looking for that darn idol because I knew it was a perfect time to use it. But I couldn't find it. It was a very difficult idol challenge. I thought I spent a lot of time on it. I know Karen, we were talking, and she had all these sheets. I had all these sheets. We were going through ciphers and all sorts of different crazy stuff. But we missed that one. The first 4 digits were the words to use from the original code, and then you had to use the numbers. It was hard. But
So basically what I'm hearing is that after the challenge, you were just like, I'll talk to you guys at tribal in 48 hours, or did you like have any other communication with people? And did people actually say, hey, you're the vote? Or did people say, hey, I'm willing to get rid of Andrew, put your vote on Andrew, or whatever? Were you like positive you were going home, or was there?
I was after they went again, voted out Karen without telling me at all, and telling me it was only Andrew. I knew they didn't trust me at that point. So and I had been steadfastly loyal to our group the entire time. I don't know what I could have done. They could have built a fantasy for me, and then they would have blown it up. Is all I thought was going to happen. So I just thought, you know what, Pook, I know it's probably going to be me, and I was hoping to divide him by not saying anything, to make him really kind of like freak out and be like, why isn't he saying anything? Why is he so comfortable right now? Like, why isn't he desperately looking out for us to vote somebody out? So I played a kind of counterintuitive strategy but I spent at least 4 or 5, maybe even 8 hours. I was spending a lot of time just trying to look for that idol there. To me, it was my only hope. I thought maybe with Denny coming back, maybe she and Pook and me could maybe do something, but just myself and those 5, I just felt fried. I just, the only way would with an idol.
And I gotta say, that's actually not a horrible strategy. You knew they were super tight, and you knew one of them's name was Pook, who gets freaked out pretty easily. So it's not a horrible idea. That's actually pretty interesting.
And it may show in future episodes. Maybe it did divide them. Maybe they did try to decide who they should vote out between the 5 of them, and really maybe got their gears going. I don't know. We'll have to see more to find out. But that was my whole thing. Try to divide them. Try to buy more time. And this Lawrence here
for you, Ben.
She's really good. She's really on point. She's really smart. She's really witty. And it was fun seeing her bicker with Ryan from the first 4 challenges. I don't know if you saw much of that in the edit, but it wasn't bickering. It was more like playful brother sister. Like, hey, I don't know. It was fun. It was fun. But her questions, yeah, she doesn't scare me, but she's a strong woman. I'll say that.
So I have a question going back to after Karen got voted out, because I am going to lead up to something that I was just dying laughing at when I heard today. But after Karen got voted out, you said that you and Denny were told that it was going to be Andrew. Obviously, Denny didn't vote for Andrew. I mean, even though you questioned it, you're like, I don't know. Denny could have voted with me, and Karen voted herself out. I don't understand how you thought that, but apparently you did. Um, and and what was that conversation like with Denny afterwards? What was the? I mean, did you even talk to her after?
No, we didn't even get a chance to talk. We were instructed that we can't talk. Well, yeah, I think we went to a tribal directly. We went to a challenge directly after that tribal, if I'm remembering that right.
Really?
Yeah, we did a couple of those before there was 48 hours after the challenge before the next tribal, but I'm pretty sure that was a back-to-back.
So you guys went to tribal, then you guys did a challenge immediately. Like you guys didn't get to have tribal and then a challenge the next day.
We might have had like 5 or 10 minutes in between, but that was it. So there wasn't much there. I knew it was very likely her, and it was the first time I really realized that. And even at that confessional, I don't think I entirely believed it. Because like I said, I had her penciled in as my number one. I had saw that vote, and I thought that had cleared her. She was saying all the right things to me. And anything that might have been suspicious, I didn't see. She got me good. She's a good player.
So then that worked out great for you guys. I mean, for her at least, that she didn't get the chance, or you didn't get the chance to talk to her, because you might have been a little bit more. Because like Robbie just asked an excellent question of how much of an influence was Denny's fake Pook vote.
That was extremely influential. Like if we had known it was Denny, I think the game would have completely changed. 100%. We were sniffing. Like I pissed off Karen because I was suspicious of her that night. We were all paranoid and suspicious of each other that night, except for I guess Denny. But yeah, it was a great move. Maybe it was just luck that she wrote it down on the wrong card, but it was a great on the top thinking to just find that one quickly, put that on there, and show it when we were all revealing our votes. When Christian found out that we could reveal our votes to each other, so she, in the 5 minutes beforehand, she got that together, and I think that changed the game completely. 100%.
All right, so we are running out of time. We'll obviously go over 30 minutes, but we got a few more questions for you. Let's try to rock through them.
Okay.
Okay, so our next question is, in this episode, after Karen goes home, we see John, and he felt bad, but then he's like, if I want to win this game, I got to embrace my villainous side, and it's got to be pleasurable for me to do this, and it's going to be fun for me to see everyone's torched up. Did you ever get a glimpse of that out of John or out of anyone?
I didn't really. They were all enemies of me the entire game, besides Karen and my crew. So to me, they were all villains. But no, I didn't see that in game. I haven't seen him. I'm sure he might backstab his allies or something. Maybe that's coming up soon. I think he was pretty close to Pook, actually. So I'm curious where that goes. I'm very curious about what happens on my tribe. I'm very curious what will be going on in the other tribe. There's great players over there. There's great players still remaining on my tribe. So yeah, my guess is as good as yours, but I'm sure there'll be some fireworks coming soon from John and from other players.
All right.
And John was a very strong and one of the more vocal people on Miami. And maybe I could have pulled him in different circumstances. Maybe if I pre-gamed with him or something. But
So what were your expectations going into the game? Because I know my expectations when I was going into the game were, I'm probably going to win this. This is going to be a walk in the park. They're not going to see me coming. Obviously, that didn't happen. However, what were your expectations, and did what happened live up to your expectations, or were you hoping to do things differently?
Well,
And then,
I obviously wanted to win too, but my strategy as a player going in, I wasn't really like I just wanted to experience the game. Like I've been the host, and I kind of like hosting. I like playing too, but I wanted to get a more player's perspective. And I did really actually want to play. I didn't want to backstab anyone in this game, just as a I don't know. I think there's some good things to a truly, like Russell. I think was a really loyal player to, especially in Samoa, to his alliance. I think there's definitely some merits to being a loyal player. And I thought I had enough numbers and enough good players on my side where I could play that game and go far, because I just wanted to go as far as I could. If I could win, that'd be great. I thought I was in a fair position with my pre-gaming to at least win if we were all in the same tribe, or at least go far. But no, I'm not disappointed. A little bit. I wish I could have gone further like anybody, but I'm glad I got a taste. And it is with a really good cast of players. So
Is this your first time playing?
it is my first time playing in an org. Well, I played in like a much more text-based org, but there was no live challenges or anything. It was more like phone app games. So okay. Very different. But there is still voting out and stuff like that. But yeah, it was my first kind of taste of it. And I think it was a good experience to see things from this side, and I think it might help me as a future player and a future host. So, yeah.
So this is our final question. It's my final question. After watching the episodes, is there any angle, anything you wish you maybe would have said or wouldn't have said that you think could have changed what happened to you?
Well, that first vote was crucial. I think we should have had a Zoom call, the five of us. I think I've said this before. I think that was my biggest move. I think everything kind of snowballed from there, especially if I wanted to continue doing that loyal game. So that is my biggest regret, that I didn't take more of a leadership or grab that more by the horns than I did there. And also, yeah, I guess that first challenge too, I should have, instead of filling in his spot, I should have just shut my mouth and let him sink or swim there. But that's hard to do too, because I feel like I'm a nice guy at heart, and I see someone struggling and want to help them out. So yeah, I think those are my main things. I was also, I think I mentioned this before we started. I don't know if it made the live bit, but I was a little, I kind of missed. So in the challenge, I called out Frank because he was kind of stalling while Denny only had 5 cups and the other team had like 2 and 3. And I thought that was an interesting part of the game that didn't need to be cut out. But even knowing that she probably flipped there, I was trying to get our team to win, and she was in a crucial spot. So and that helps get the questions keep moving, so she would have more time, get a better shot. But no, I appreciate the interview, guys. If Melissa, do you have a last question? All right.
I have one last question. It's a what if scenario, just for my own curiosity. So if I was on the other tribe, I would have fought to take you over Denny, because I would have thought you would have been more on the outs just because of the fact that they thought she was more social. And I was like, she's over there making friends. You would have been the one that I would have thought would have been more on the outs. I would have thought bringing you over would have been a better benefit.
Oh, yeah, it would have been a completely different episode.
Do you think that if you would have went over there, it would have, I mean, obviously you wouldn't have got it voted out today, But do you think that it would have definitely changed the whole dynamic of it, especially since they would have had to turn on each other and voted one of themselves out?
Oh,
Like,
100%. Especially that now I know that Denny's the flipper. Like, I think she gained some trust with everybody over there, and including Pook and I think a few others. So I think she may survive at another 1 or 2 votes if that tribe keeps going to tribal council. So yeah, I think things would have been different. If you had asked me while I was in the game, I'd be like, "Oh, Denny's screwed," because I don't know, I was my head was in my ass at the time. But yeah, yeah, it would have been interesting.
But what if you went over to the other side and gave them all the information that you possibly could have?
I would have. I would have given that information to Logan and to Corey first, and then I'd talk to them and see if we should include Frank, or if they already included Frank in their thing, and then maybe get to Frank too. But yeah, Corey and Logan were in my final 4 I made pregame, so I'd definitely go to them with everything I had. And then Carrie too, I would probably give some information to her as well, because I felt good with her.
And how telling would have been, because John's sitting there saying that if you would have been taken, Andrew would have been voted out. Denny would not have been voted out. If you would have came back and seen Denny was still alive, how suspicious would have that made you?
I think that would have been very, very interesting, because then we can't work together, and then the specialists would have to pick, and Pook would have to pick sides there. And I'm sure they'd probably stick with Denny, but because she's working with her the whole time. But yeah, who's your favorite org player that's played any minis and long games other than yourself? Oh man,
Ben, there's only one correct answer.
I remember you have 2 of them hosting you right now.
Shoot, I can't win.
I'm teasing. Just say yourself.
Myself, obviously. But the winners too have been really good. I think Ashley's been really good. I think Frank's been really good. And the finalists have been really good.
But if you notice, I told him to do something and he did it. So
Melissa and Lee, like Lee, you gave one of the most entertaining confessionals that season, or some of the most, in my opinion. And in Melissa, you too. You added a completely different element than a lot of other players added, and I think you added a lot of pure honesty and passion, and I thought that was good too. So it's hard to say. We have a lot of good, interesting players in this group. So I think we had a star-studded mini. I think this game star-studded. Your game was certainly star-studded with very good players. Well, not all, sure, but no. Like I said before, I'm very interested to see how the rest of the season plays out. Rooting for a lot of people. Mostly, yeah, TRHSers. I'd say Denny, I'm curious to see what happens. Logan, I have good feelings about. Corey, I have good feelings about.
So now that you're out, who are you rooting for?
If I had to pick one person, all right, my one from the specialists is probably, I'd like to see Frank somehow repeat. I think that'd be incredible. That would be fun to watch. And Pook too, if he could somehow win, that would be incredible too. And from the true specialists, I'd like to see John. I'd like to see McKenna. Like there's some great people with them too.
Okay, you're naming everybody, Ben.
You caught me.
No political answers. Just give us a straight.
If I had to pick anybody from everybody left, and if I pick one person, I might go Logan actually.
Okay.
I think he's a really smart player, and I think he's collected and really mature for his age.
Awesome.
All right.
Ben, well, everybody loved that you were loyal, that you did everything that you thought you should do to the end of it. Go ahead, Lee.
Oh, you keep going. I was about to wrap it up.
Go ahead, wrap it up.
All right. Thank you, Ben, for coming on to episode 4 recap show live. Thank you for making it super easy for Melissa and I, first time co-host, to do this. It was super fun. I hope all the listeners enjoyed, and catch you all later.
Thank you.
Bye. Did you just kick? Oh, you have to go off live.
Yeah, I know.